The goal? Take my friend Lorelei on an unforgettable first backpacking trip. The trail was the Taconic Crest Trail, stretching from Vermont to central Mass, straddling the New York-Mass state line along the Taconic Mountains, bounded with Pittsfield. The plan? Hike from Petersburg Pass to Route 20, 30 miles over 3 days and 2 nights, while using my ultralight gear to minimize weight and initial investment from her to maximize enjoyment. This was the result. The first day was 9 miles and 2,000 feet of climb. It started with ups and downs up from Petersburg Pass, and we climbed Mount Berlin, which was one of the only views that we saw on the trail. It featured great, expansive, open views of the summit, and most notably of Mount Greylock and the Greylock Range off in front of us, which is a significant mountain because it's one of the ones I climbed several times in my time at college. Afterwards, we climbed the first 2 of 3 misery mountains on the entire trail.
You having a miserable time?
Not yet, because we're not on the mountain yet.
And they were rather miserable, both because the climb was steep and also because there were minimal views on top.
Twice miserable.
The second misery mountain.
It's twice the misery because it's miserable to climb and it's miserable to look at.
There's nothing here. There's just trees.
We ended the day at Madison Hollow, which is a side trail out of a saddle point, where it takes us down into a valley, and we can find the springs and the tributaries that make up the Kronk Brook.
Kronk Brook.
Conquer Fall.
A confluence of Kronk.
Which is a really nice brook that we enjoyed by putting our feet in the very, very cold mountain water.
Kronk Beach.
Ready?
Kronked out. Alright.
How you feeling?
It's not exactly flat down here.
We set up camp, filtered that water, and went to sleep very early, having a very accomplished day.
I was looking for my second set of steaks. Sometimes you gotta just dump everything out to really see what's going on. It's time for a nap. Creamy chicken Norris with canned chicken. What a nice meal. You get to watch sunset the trees. Enjoy a nice evening.
Here we are,
Inside the tent. After dinner, everything's packed up.
about to go to bed.
And then we're gonna get going in the morning.
Oh, have our oatmeal and get hiking.
We have about
14
13 and a half.
14 miles planned for tomorrow.
Could be a good hike. About
500 feet of climbing, so a decent amount.
be a hard day, but
It'll be good. The second day was 14 miles and 3.5 feet of elevation.
good morning. All packed up. Time to climb up that way.
It started with a huge climb out of the valley.
This goes like straight up.
Yeah, welcome to Landslide Mudslide 2026.
Kronk mudslide.
Wrong mudslide, yeah.
Big climb out of Madison Hollow. Back to the Taconic Crest.
Climbing the last misery mountain.
They've helpfully blazed the path for us. We've arrived at the miserable mountain. Such misery. No views to speak of.
Then we had some random ups and downs before a hard descent down to Hancock, Massachusetts, where we got to meet Santa Claus. We saw a truck with a Williams College staff sticker, and we went to go talk to them. Turns out they were Dave Boyer, the former campus safety director at Williams, who still comes back to campus as Santa Claus during the holiday parades, riding on the fire truck. We then followed the road up and out of the valley towards Pittsfield State Forest, seeing some crops, cows, horses, and lots of other cool stuff in Hancock. We We climbed up pretty hard and then got a nice view before Berry Pond. Where we saw the sunset over dinner. That was our second major view of the trip, but since it was so extensive and we got to eat dinner there, as well as enjoying the sunset, it felt rather worth it. It was also the only major view that we got to see that entire day.
In my tent for the night, going to check for ticks and pack up and go to bed.
The final day was 7 miles and 1,000 feet of elevation. We started early with breakfast on the trail, leaving camp and breaking down in only half an hour.
The views have been somewhat scant. The wildlife has been abundant.
I don't know what that
Breakfast at Tower Mountain.
We had some small climbs with much cooler temperatures, which made it very, very comfortable with milder climbs as well. It just felt like a walk in the woods. Then we got to Twin Pond, skipped some rocks.
Very nice. Hey! Whoa!
And then made our final push down to Route 20, which ended our hike.
The Taconic Crest Trail. Whoop whoop! Oh yeah.
Woo! Overall, the highlights of the trip were definitely, first and foremost, the wildlife. We saw all sorts of kinds of birds, animals, lizards, insects. We saw 2 beaver ponds throughout, and lots of just amazing wildlife all over the place. Much more than I expected for this area of Massachusetts.
It's the most impressive beaver dam I've ever seen. Look at that civil engineering right there. Another pond.
In terms of views, we only got 2 really noteworthy views the entire time, but they're definitely both worth it, with seeing excellent views of Mount Greylock and Mount Berlin, and also incredible views out over the valley above Berry Pond, where we also saw the sunset. We also got to see some nice ponds, both Berry Pond itself, which is the highest body of water in Massachusetts, and then also Twin Pond, which is rather smaller, but still excellent for skipping rocks. The last hiking highlight was the weather, which was very, very cooperative. Sunny, mild temperatures, not so challenging throughout. It did get a little warm on certain climbs, but it was never rainy or anything else that would create a lot of difficulties for someone's first backpacker. And the last, and perhaps most important highlight was getting to spend time with my friend in the woods, doing the thing that I love. The drawbacks were also somewhat several. First, there were very limited views, so we only got to see those 2 views, which is really challenging considering how much climbing there is, and yet how many wooded-in summits or climbs that don't really lead to anything at the end. We probably saw 1 view for every 5 climbs that we did. Secondly, it's really steep in places, which is very odd. The trail designers just have you go straight up mountains at certain points, reaching steepness, according to CalTopo, of at least 30% or more, which is rather steep for a trail. The trail is also completely banned to all-terrain vehicles and other motorized vehicles, but in certain areas it's very clear that there still is their impact. For example, large muddy puddles and deep rutted trails, which are an annoyance to hike around.
These dang ATVs.
The last and most significant drawback was the ticks. We both pulled off several of them throughout the trip. I pulled off 8, none of which were attached, thankfully, but it really does highlight how important it is to be vigilant and be careful hiking in the Northeast in the early summer. Overall, I'd rate the trail a 6 out of 10. I think that the erosion caused by ATVs, along with the steepness at times, and relative lack of rewarding views, makes it somewhat unenjoyable to hike. I think that there are other more enjoyable trails nearby with better views and better experiences possible. However, I'd rate the experience overall a 9 out of 10, because those drawbacks only take off one single point because of the amazing time I got to have with my friend and the amazing first backpacker that we had. Overall, it was a great time, and I might just come back to do those remaining miles or do it all in one go so I can mark it off my list. Thanks for watching.
Like it's gonna be like on the floor, you know? Okay, 1, 2, 3. What do you mean?
人啊！